When it comes to blockchain, the sharing of information amongst communities is vital for success, growth, and realizing value. We all need a source to help us form our decision making, as we try and identify which blockchain is truly going to deliver the systems that improve the way we live on a global scale. But as the landscape develops and participation increases, narratives get formed and become so deep-rooted and distributed that it becomes ever more difficult for newcomers to make informed decisions. What's lacking in abundance when it comes to investing in cryptocurrencies is critical thinking, the ability to be open to all information, but thoroughly process it, question it, and ultimately think. A third-rate mind is only happy when it's thinking with the majority. A second-rate mind is only happy when it's thinking with the minority. However, a first-rate mind is only happy when it's thinking for itself. Welcome back for today's instalment of Cardano Insights, delivering a fast-paced, bite-sized roundup of the all-important Cardano news and interesting ecosystem content from the past 24 hours. So come and join me as I explore exactly what's been happening at the very pulse of Cardano. So let's get into it. On the topic of critical thinking, we got this great thread from Mati, who is one of the creators at Cardano Blockchain Insights. He laid out some common narratives and thought processes we see often in the crypto space. He starts by laying out one of the most important qualities you need to retain as a crypto investor is independent, highly deep thinking skills, claiming it's damn hard because there's no perfect crypto, and often what other projects will say are advantages, to others are disadvantages. He then lays out the following examples using narratives formed in the Ethereum community and couples them with his opinion or counter-argument. Writing, take Ethereum for example, they assure that because AMM DEXs, which are applications, need the account-based system to do one swap transaction, then you actually need this for the whole layer 1. He believes EUTXO is a better general computation model because it works fine for 90% of other use cases. In the second example, he states they believe that because EOS failed due to delegated proof of stake, it must mean that delegated proof of stake is the reason for its failure. Correction, correlation in statistics is not causation, yet people succumb to this all of the time. In the third example, belief that past performance is a guide to the future performance. If the Ethereum development team delivered well in the past, it must mean that the merge in ETH 2.0, including dank sharding and PBS, will be a success. Reality, past performance is not a guide to the future. And in the fourth example, a belief that paying for failed transactions is actually a good thing because the miner's resource was used. Reality, let's talk to the users and find out if it's good. Let's question, can we do better? He then lays out some more common beliefs, that slashing is actually good, block staking is actually good, it's fine for users to stake less than 32 ETH in a centralized way, a belief that a global state in programming and imperative programming is actually good because we can lure in millions of dApp developers at the expense of roll-up designs that have to work around the global state and the ease of sharding. He then uses Bitcoin as the last example and the notion that proof of work is the ultimate goal, as if there's no way to develop something better, faster, cheaper without the drawbacks. He then closes the thread with the moral. The most important skill is that you need to be an independent thinker and do not let any indoctrination of any ecosystem coins take over your deep thinking and analytical skills. For me, this thread was really insightful, and I think at some stage we can all be guilty of leaning towards narratives that suit our own interests. But in order to improve, we need to think a lot more when presented with information rather than just taking it at face value. So thanks for Mati to this great insight, and if you want to go and check the full thread, I've linked it in the description below. And while you're there, go give him a follow. He's a really active and valuable Cardano community member. Next to Greyscale. You may remember in March, Greyscale announced their smart contract Ex-Ethereum fund to gain exposure to native tokens of emerging smart contract platforms. I noticed yesterday discussions on Twitter showing the current status of the fund, with the narrative that Greyscale had increased their Cardano allocation. For clarity, this isn't completely accurate. Whilst the weighting has increased from 24% in March to 32% in June, this is because it's market weighted. So as a result of ADA outperforming the other assets in the market, the percentage allocation increases based on the market cap. For me, the most significant and positive things about the Greyscale fund is the fact that A, Cardano was identified as an emerging smart contract investment, and B, the fact that Greyscale are managing these funds for their investors and have a duty to carry out diligent risk assessment when choosing which assets to include. They clearly identify Cardano as a highly investable smart contract platform with great potential. Also, this was further compounded by the fact that Luna never featured in the fund, even though at the time of its inception, in March, Luna was making big moves in the market. This leads me to believe they have a very good understanding of the smart contract platform landscape in light of what occurred with Luna last month. Ultimately, for me, whilst it's great that Cardano is recognised by a leading digital asset management firm, I'd be more interested if Greyscale decided to give Cardano its own asset class, like Ethereum, then the fund and exposure would really increase exponentially. Next up, with consensus only 2 days away, IOHK gave us this update detailing exactly what is happening when it comes to Cardano across the 6-day event. To kick things off, IOG, Emurgo and the Cardano Foundation will hold a Cardano community event on the 8th of June at the Palmer Centre in Austin. The meetup is free to attend and attendees will have the opportunity to meet Charles and connect with projects building on Cardano and community leaders. At the main event, IOG, the Cardano Foundation and Emurgo will come together in full force to demonstrate to the industry exactly why Cardano is now considered one of the leading blockchains. Charles will be speaking at the main conference, while the Cardano main booth space will showcase a range of products, projects and initiatives from the three organisations, including Project Catalyst, Atala Prism, IOG's new Light Wallet, EVM sidechain project, and an exclusive special on import endorsers. More importantly, Cardano will be showcasing and celebrating some of the now 1,000 dApps and NFT projects that are building on Cardano. See the article linked in the description for more details. After the conclusion of the main consensus event, IOG will hold a free workshop and hackathon for developers in Austin on the 13th of June. Attendees will be invited to participate in one of 3 tracks: Plutus Challenge, Marlo Zero to Hero, or dApp Developer Update track, in which they'll be able to display their ingenuity, connect with the community, and ultimately build on Cardano. Speaking of building, we got this update from OHK that finally the ecosystem growth has surpassed 1,000 projects now building on Cardano. This is a significant milestone considering it's only been 8 months since the smart contract release. As they highlight in this tweet, many of these projects will be in Austin for the consensus event, which bodes really well for further adoption and makes building on Cardano an even more attractive proposition as the number of companies choosing Cardano continues to increase. Now that we have over 1,000 projects building, the 3rd largest community in crypto, and process around 1/3 of the equivalent total transactions on Ethereum, that's before the Vassal hard fork update, it's not difficult to put all these pieces together and make a fair assumption on where you think the Cardano blockchain is heading. Now to some interesting data I came across courtesy of ADA. He formulated a chart that tracks market cap performance against subreddit following, and it produces some interesting results. Firstly, it highlights how ADA has fallen to a perfectly neutral trendline position. It's interesting to see how in some cases assets with seemingly smaller social communities have highly overinflated market caps, and others with strong social footprints are below the trendline in this respect. ADA acknowledges himself that this is not a perfect model by any means, stating not all social activity happens on Reddit, does not account for momentum, and Reddit subs are a function of time and surviving. But as he rightly states, reviewing the data in this way is not useless either. For example, a 40th ranked protocol in terms of socials won't go to 100 billion market cap. With Cardano being right on trendline based on social community size and market cap growth signifies the potential if you can have assets like Solana, Polkadot and AVAX that seem to be way overvalued based on community size and market cap position. He also provided the same chart from January, noting the gaps of Solana, Polkadot and AVAX to fair value were much larger. All have lost more ground than ADA in this period. He then summarises, I look at crypto valuation in 2 stages. In the early years, between now and 2025, it will mostly be about network growth, see charts. Beyond that, valuation likely matures to other frameworks, and I hinted at one in the below tweet, stating, in my opinion, blindly focusing on TVL metrics misses the point. And continued, I see crypto as digital countries. To get wealthy, they need strong institutions, demographics, infrastructure, governance and security. So in my opinion, everyone in crypto focusing on vanity metrics in the sense of speed and dApps misses the point. Whilst that covers the infrastructure, it doesn't any of the other ingredients. When we take a look at Cardano, there is significant focus on all these areas ADA speaks of, and in fact, in some ways, focus far more on the key components for long-term value realisation rather than short-term explosive growth. So thanks to ADA for the data and the great thread. If you haven't already, I'd really recommend giving him a follow. He regularly provides great insights into Cardano, dispels lots of the FUD, and is very consistent with his narrative. Today, Emurgo and the Cardano Foundation announced the release of a decentralized applications toolstack or decentralized application backend solution for Cardano's Web3 developer community. To date, there is a lack of open source Plutus application backends available to Cardano developers. The newly released solution provides an open source alternative for Cardano developers to build decentralized applications on Cardano's blockchain, and also serves as an index, a common infrastructure for core integration components to launch a dApp. As the DAB solution is a Cardano community-based open source tool, it enables the Cardano Web3 developer community to collaborate on developing common infrastructure. So how is it different from other tools? The DAB is able to integrate with all blockchain connectors and serves as a building block or a toolset for the Cardano community to contribute. Alternatively, it can be looked at as a dApp framework for other components to also be built on top of. Currently, many other projects are building in what are effectively silos without any planned interoperability features. This toolset supports standardized components which can be utilized by all dApps, supported by a consensus-driven community framework for sustainable dApp development. In terms of its benefits, dApps and wallets will be able to connect to Cardano without a full node. The DAB is a lightweight solution that allows for easy interaction with smart validators on the Cardano blockchain. Using the DAB, developers can easily deploy a DAB to read or write smart contracts. It enables faster and more flexible integrations to support dApps and wallets to further grow the developer community and diversifying the level of quality on-chain activity. It also allows for a variety of applications to be built by third parties and increases the diversity of options available for developers to build solutions. Ultimately, the DAB solution is a toolset that helps Cardano developers easily interact with the Cardano blockchain and collaborate further to build on community-owned resources. This is a great step forward for further adoption, enhancing the appeal of building on the Cardano blockchain. You can check the full article, which is linked in the description below. So that's it for another installment of Cardano Insights. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please be sure to comment, like, share and subscribe to the channel. We'll be back tomorrow with your daily roundup. Until then, thanks for watching, have a great day, and as always, keep it Cardano.